Welcome to Brave,
where we share with you our stories to help you and us navigate these intense times. I'm Helene.
and I'm Penelope.
We're a mother-daughter duo. Only child, single mom, and we wanted to share some of our stories with you.
Yeah.
In the last episode, we talked about how there was a moment when Penelope looked in the mirror and she made some decisions, like what to leave off the table, what things were stealing from her, stealing her joy, stealing her energy, stealing her happiness. So she left social media off the table. She decided...
Sugar.
Yeah, sugar.
Sugar and bread.
And then you decided also to start moving your body.
Yeah, every day, once a day.
And this was when she was at one of her lowest points. And it was big. It was a big turning point. And I'd mentioned in the last video that there was something that happened on my side of the street, like exactly at that same time. So we've been seeing a therapist, and at one point in my work with this therapist that I was seeing because of my relationship, like I wanted to have a long-term relationship, and I wanted to attract a different kind of guy. And so I was like, I need to work on some stuff because I think I'm attracting guys based on like an emotional trauma bond wounding somehow. I know it's a lot of words, but I saw him, and at one point he's like, I'd like to meet your daughter. So I brought Penelope in, and he knew that we were having some troubles, and it was totally transformational. Because he really confronted me, and he was like, you're not accepting what's going on with your daughter. And I'm like, of course I'm not accepting what's going on with my daughter. She's over 100 pounds overweight. She's depressed, she's anxious, she's in therapy 3 times a week. I was like, I'm totally desperate and helpless. I don't know which direction to go, and I'm enabling this. I am making this happen. And I have to do something to stop it. I have to do something to fix it. I have to do something to turn it around. And he said that I'm not accepting her. And I'm like, if I accept her, then I'm fully condoning what's happening. And he's like, no. And I simply couldn't wrap my head around that. I had equated the fact that like if I had accepted you more, then I would have somehow not been able to have the power or ability in my helplessness to change the situation. And I didn't really fully comprehend the energetic aspect of what was happening. Because like I knew, based on some of the books that I've read, especially Hawkins' book, Letting Go, that our ability to accept is directly correlated with our ability to let go. For me, I could understand that and apply it to like anything else in my life. But my daughter, who is in this crisis, no way. I'm the one buying her the fudge. I'm the one buying her the hamburgers. I'm the one providing the food. And how could I let this happen? You know, there's like so much guilt and shame and like so much stuff tied in. And of course she feels it every time she walks out of your room, right? You were saying that you felt it.
Yeah, like I didn't want to leave my room because I was like, she's going to judge me. She's going to say something. And she did. She always said something. To open your freaking curtains. Open your curtains. Get out of bed. Move your body. Why don't you just exercise? Exercise will fix everything, Penelope. Oh, why? No, sugar's not good for you. Don't eat sugar. No. Drugs are terrible. Like all these things, it's like, no duh. Obviously, my whole life, she was telling me this. I'm like, like if it was like if she didn't understand that she'd been telling me this my whole life, like I already knew. So why would she keep telling me something I knew? We studied it in school. We studied it. Like, it drove it home for me. I was like, oh my gosh, why are you still talking? Literally, why are you still talking?
And I think it created more of this, there was like a moment where
I didn't talk to her for weeks.
Oh, it felt like years, but maybe it was just weeks, but I think it was a lot.
I gave you a silent treatment.
So like, you know, I'm like, we say goodnight in this house, something like that, you know, and she's like pushing her door closed. And I'm like at her door, like, don't close the door, don't shut the door. And I'm like, I'm literally gonna lose a nose or a finger or a face. Like, and I'm like, but you know what? Like, God help me, I am gonna say goodnight. And she's like, get out of my room! And I'm like, oh my God, she's overpowered me. She's officially stronger than me, smarter than me, faster than me, funnier than me. And I'm like, there was a moment. I'll never forget that moment. I'm like, I'm really risking something here just to say goodnight. But I was totally desperate. I'm like, she can't, like, she's not drinking water. She's not having any sunlight in her room. Like, you know, I was totally at my wit's end. And I was desperate. And I'm sorry that I imposed all of my judgments on you, because it was the shame that was actually preventing the progress. And her shame was kind of pushing up against my shame. Not kind of. Your shame was pushing up against my shame. And so I literally was desperate and fell to my knees and prayed to God. And I asked for help. And I prayed to my mother, who's no longer alive. You know, I was asking for help. Like, this has got to change. This has got to turn around. This can't go on any longer. What can I do? And I really, really worked on my ability to accept the situation.
But not only that, I like to say you had to accept yourself.
Yeah. I had subconscious things from my childhood that I was still carrying forth that I actually couldn't see. And it was as if Penelope was shining a light on the things that I couldn't see. I was still working out, but it was in a different realm, so to say. It was like in a different dimension, but those things were still at play. And she helped me to see that I needed to resolve those things. I needed to forgive myself. I needed to forgive my mother. I needed to forgive my father. I needed to forgive all those kids that made fun of me and bullied me. I needed to let go, not only of my judgments on her, but I needed to let go of a lot of stuff that was like still having a grip on me. That unknowingly, unconsciously, I was imposing on Penelope. And what did it look like from the outside? It looked like me praying a lot, but it also looked like me confronting my resistance and like putting out a fire. Like, imagine fire is the resistance, and the way I was putting out the fire, or I was dampening the fire from raging so brightly, was like love, acceptance, and forgiveness from myself, from her, to me, to all the things in my life. I mean, it was really cathartic and powerful. And the only reason I can say I think it worked was, of course, when you had that moment, when you looked in the mirror and you made all those decisions, when you literally came out and came to the table. Mm. And we hadn't had dinner in, I don't know, years. You wouldn't eat my food, which, like, for those of you who know me, like that's the biggest joy of my life, is like feeding other people amazing,
which is
delicious
exactly
food.
why I didn't want to do it. Right? That's how we will rebel. We want to do exactly what you love doing. We want to take away from you and make you feel the pain. I know from some of you guys out there understand what I'm talking about.
That's rough. I'm sure I was the same way when I was an adolescent.
But I also have to say she had to let go of all of her beliefs around me. Like all of her judgments on me, all of her opinions. She had to let go of everything completely, even if that meant not seeing me for weeks, or me not coming out of my room, or me not eating with her. Because the second she let go was the second I came to the table. Yeah. The second I said, "Hey, Mom. Hey, how's your day going? How are you today?"
I'm like, who is this child? Like,
can you? I love talking to you about some food ideas I have. Like what are some really awesome things I can make this week?
So it was like as if she didn't have anything to push up against, there had this vacuum opened. So like if you think about physics, it's like when I removed the thing that she was pushing up against, there was a vacuum that got created, and then there was this opening. And you know, I know you dads and moms can relate. I literally wondered, I was like, where did my Penelope go? Like, she was this really happy child who was like singing all the time and dancing and performing and like just funny and witty and honest and like spoke her mind. Like, I'm like, where did she go? Where did this child go? And it was like that day, I was like, oh my God, like she's still in there. Like, she's still in there. Okay, I haven't lost her completely. It was a big deal. It was a really big deal. So thank you for having patience with me. And I'm sorry.
I've already forgiven you. And that's for the teens out there. That's the biggest thing, because people will hurt people, and hurt people. And
that's true.
When they're family, I feel like family, a lot of people might disagree, family's everything, even if your family's not perfect. Right now, there's a big topic right now called messy families. That's what we've been talking about lately. And I just have to point that out because as a teen, as a daughter, she's hurt me so badly, and I could hold that against her my whole life. Same thing for my father. Like, I could hold them everything they've done against me my whole life. I could dwell on it. I could be 40 years old and say, my mom did this and my dad did this. Or I could say, these are my parents. They raised me. They took the skin off their back for me. They gave their life to me. They devoted their time to me. They've done everything for me to be alive right now. And just to have that realization and to say, hey, I can't say like I'm perfect. Like, of course, it still hurts to think about these things sometimes. But it's not an excuse, and it's not a reason for me to treat them poorly. I had to come to my own forgiveness and say, I forgive you guys. From the bottom of my heart, I forgive you guys. And I love you. And thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, and thank you. When you come to that point, that's when you can start doing the inner work on yourself, on who you are, what things root from you. Because it's not all their fault at the end of the day. We all have our own baggage that we've created from ourselves that other people have given us. So to say mom and dad did everything and blame our whole lives around them and dwell on it for our whole life, no matter what they did, forgiveness. I love you, I'm sorry, thank you.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
So important.
Yeah, for those young people, but also for us. I mean,
everyone.
How many, like you said the other day, or was it last year? I don't know. You were saying like, seriously, I'm not going to be talking about my daddy issues in my 20s. Like,
I'm not.
That's
not me. I'm not.
I know, but I thought it was really cute.
My dad was basically absent my whole life, and I literally love him so much.
Well, I mean, you know, if you're listening, like, you know.
He showed up. He showed up when he could.
Yeah.
He lives in Europe, for context, so, you know.
Yeah, and we lived in the States.
It was different.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was going through severe learning stuff, and I just couldn't understand everything that was going on.
Yeah. But I just want to honor him.
No, I honor him. I love, Dad, I love you. If you're watching this, I love you so much. You're my best friend, and I literally don't know what I would do
You have, like, your
you.
dad mug here.
I have my dad mug. No, my dad's, like, my best friend now.
Yeah.
But me and him went through our own journey.
Yeah.
And it was not perfect.
Yeah. And I think all of us, like, I'm just taking a pause there. I'll just say, like, that's great advice that you're giving for young people, especially. But I know there are a lot of people my age who are still haven't forgiven their parents and who still have major issues with their parents. And I think that the time is now to resolve that. I think that a massive healing for the entire family. Like, Penelope did a lot of work, but it was just in the last year and a half that you actually decided to heal your relationship with your dad.
True.
Which took your growth and progress to new heights.
It took my standards for men, actually, to new heights. I didn't, like, before, I didn't know what, like, a standard for like, a father, what, like, for, like, a boyfriend or anything. I was like, what are the standards for that? And I learned, I was like, oh my gosh, the door needs to be held for me. I need to be, like, thanked for my presence. I need to be acknowledged for who I am, respected, complimented. Oh, that's what you're supposed to have in a relationship. Oh, that's very nice. I enjoy that. I didn't know any of that until I started cultivating this relationship with my father.
We need to do a whole episode about boyfriends.
Oh my gosh, yes we do.
Okay.
Yes,
And also
we
we'd
do.
love to hear from you on what things you'd like to hear about. Please be gentle with your comments. We're really just here trying to do good. We're really not trying to do any harm at all. So if we've said anything that offended you, I'm sorry. Very sorry. I did not mean to. So
We just want to help heal people.
Yeah.
We want to help people heal themselves.
Yeah. That's our intention here. But we have to do a whole episode on boyfriends.
We
for
definitely have to do all of those boyfriends. No names though.
I do have to say though, I do think divorce is like legalized child abuse. I don't think divorce is good at all.
I agree.
For children.
I agree. As a child of divorce.
As a child of divorce. It's just the worst. And I just, there isn't a day that passes that I don't wonder, how it would have been different if, we had stayed married for your growth and development, regardless of our relationship issues and problems. So I do feel that way. Like if you're on the fence about getting a divorce and your relationship is salvageable, please do the work for your kids and their kids and their kids. It's really important, I think. Not so much the institution of marriage, but the idea of family, which I still hold in my heart. I have this like really kind of funny fantasy idea of what family should be. And
I have a real idea of what my family will be.
That was good.
So I will carry on what she couldn't
Thank
into
you.
my future and have my future carry on what we couldn't.
And now I can say that we are happily enjoying at least one, if not 2 meals a day.
Yes.
Yeah, we actually go to the gym together.
Yeah, actually, I'm kicking her butt now.
Yeah, she totally
I was in the
is.
car this morning at 5:50, and she was in the car at 5:56, and I'm like sitting in the car like this is a waste of my time. She doesn't have her shoes on. Like I'm like, what is going on? It's 5:56. We get to the gym at 6:03 because it's 5 minutes away, and I'm like, dude, like what?
3 minutes late.
We are female CEOs. We have businesses and full companies to run.
Yeah.
We don't have 3 minutes is a lot of time. You can make a phone call in 3 minutes, write an email in 3 minutes.
That's true. You could learn something new in 3 minutes.
You could drink a tea in 3 minutes.
Well, that's kind of tricky, actually. Depends on how hot it is. By the way, we're drinking Tulsi tea. Tulsi is our new favorite.
My favorite mug. Love you, Dad.
Love you, Ito.
No, he really is the best.
He is. Maybe he'll come on one of these episodes.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, I only have 2 mics, so. Well.
We'll figure it out. We could like share a mic, you know, like,
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
German, French accent.
German. Fully German.
But it sounds kind of, yeah. Okay.
It's German. Anyway, I feel like we're rambling now.
We are.
Okay, so we're going to close the episode. Thank you for being with us.
We love you. We send you love and prayers. May you be blessed.